This is a beautiful Saturday, September 9th, 2023, and we are here in Lanesville at the Heritage Weekend. This year, Lanesville is featuring Case tractors. As I said, they've got some unusual ones here. You know, pretty common Case 530, a real nice restore on that one, but look at this one over here. A Case 700B Orchard. How often do you see an Orchard tractor, period? But man, isn't that nice? All the extra sheet metal they put on them simply so that they could go on and get through the orchards without damaging the trees on all the parts of the tractor. All this extra sheet metal protects the tractor and the trees. Keeps the tractor from being damaged as well as the trees. And look, diamond tread turf, well, almost diamond tread, they're octagon treads or hexagon treads on this for the rear tires. It's something you don't see very often, but you know, they're running through turf more than they are running through any other dirt and soil, so they don't really need the heavy bar tread tires, but they got the really nice turf. Looks like a pretty good restore. Got a little bit of fender damage that should be fixed still, but overall, wow. How often do you see one of these? A nice Case 700 diesel and an Orchard version. Now we got some of these really older Cases. I'm not a Case aficionado. I don't know a whole lot about Case tractors. Was never around them when I was growing up. The only thing I've ever had anything really to do with is a 430, but all these rest of these are just neat. Case cross motor, a 1220, and from 1924. 1924, farming in 1924. Quite a bit different than farming in 2024 is gonna be. I mean, whew, from that to what we've got today, wow, what a difference. And here's another little cross motor. Oh, this one's for sale too, if anybody's looking for one. These here were a neat concept. They put the motor sideways, which put the drive point off the motor in line with the rear axle just to run down with a chain instead of requiring a complex transmission. Everything's all in line where they don't have to convert the drive from one angle to the other, you know, make a 90-degree change. It's all in the same mechanism. Good concept, but ultimately we found out that it was better the other way. The other neat thing is they actually made these tractors pretty short because the motor being sideways. And now look at most of our cars today are cross motors. They're not in line with the drivetrain in the car. They're cross motors. So Case was way ahead of its time back in the day. Back 1922, so that one's 101 years old now. Wow. Now we got some letter series Cases in this row here. VACs, good smaller tractors. It looks like a D, and here's that little D, Case D, 1951. The styling was okay. It was pretty, it was in time with when these were made, but the colors, man, Case was really nice with that bright orange. Really stood out. And we got a VAH here. High clearance. Note how much higher up the front axle is. And then if you look back on there, there's actually a drop down piece for the rear drive from the axle down to the center wheel. Pretty cool. Case VA, another VAH, 1948. And then, what do we have up here? Case LA Expo, 1944. A little bit newer here, a Case 600. Now we're into the number series. 600s, and then they were followed by the 30 series. Then we have a 400 case here, 1955. 300. Not exactly sure how they got the different styling for the top of the hood on the 300 versus that 400 and 600. Quite a bit different. That extra sheet metal must have made these a lot, actually probably more expensive, to be honest with you, to make the 300. But note, side panel to cover up the hood, quite a bit ahead of its time. I mean, we didn't get that until Case IH brought it back in the, gosh, when they came out with the Magnum series in the late 80s. And then ultimately it went away. We kind of moved on from that. Then over here we got another VAC. I'll pan up so you can see. Now after that we run into a whole lot of other farm tractors, Farmalls, John Deeres, everything else. And I'm just gonna, give you the bird's eye view. You can see we got plenty of them up there. So got plenty of other tractors, but now we're gonna just go on and go back to the cases, because that's what's so much different about this show than most of the others. Here is having all the case tractors. Got the Case DC in 1954 there. They bring them here in multiple states, anything from farm ready, these have been used out in the fields, all the way up to better than factory new. Just look at that SC. So these were some of these guys, they do the restores, and I'm glad they do them. Sometimes I kind of think they would go a little too far, but that's okay. Another DC here. They take very good pride in them, and they'll actually make them look a little better than factory, because factory paint jobs were not quite this good back then. But man, isn't that Case SC sharp. And what do we got this one here? VAC export. Nice. And this guy, he's got these sitting under a tent to protect them from the elements. Well, when you do that much work and go around, especially when you're talking this one here, the new Case 300 early prototype. Info about it. One of 12 prototypes here. You're going to want to protect this even from sunlight, not just the rain or any other possibility, but you would want to protect this even from the sunlight. Now we go around here, get to this side of it. Experimental. Isn't that neat? The prototype for the Case 300. Over here we got a 350. Could use a little bit of cleaning and polishing, but it's a 350 experimental. How often do you get to see experimentals? Man, these are cool. What do we got over here on this side? Must be another one. Case 300 full restore, a really nice one. Ooh, 1956 model. 311 high clearance. Says it's a 311 high clearance, possible one of one. Built April 5th, 1956, shipped to Experimental on April 10th, 1956. Used by Experimental Department for testing, a higher clearance tractor, which became the Model 312 in 1957. Wow, isn't that cool? An Experimental 311, based on a 300, but it's a high clearance model. And then we here, and then here is a 1966 Case 430 LCK, based on its low size. Obviously this is a low clearance tractor, sits low to the ground for going under things. Possibly could have also been used in orchards, even though it doesn't have all the orchard stuff around it. Could have been that. Vineyards might have used, probably not Vineyards, it's a little wide, but man, it's a good looking tractor. Now let's see what's in the next tent over here. Here's another, looks like a Case 430 here, fully restored. Man, real nice. 430 diesel from the looks of it. It's a diesel, 430 diesel, full restored.
It had to go.
Good looking tractor.
Grandmother raised it. His graduation present was a brand new car. It was a Chevy.
Case 430.
He had 3 options. 2-door sedan. Just 3 options. 427 4-speed.
Case Eagle on the Globe. Man, what a neat sign to have for a logo. Is that Eagle on the Globe.
Well, the base car had, automatic air,
And that one's a full 3D one. We'll go around to this side and you can see it is 3-dimensional. Designed to hang on a wall, obviously, with the flat back, but look at that. It sticks out. It's a 3-dimensional. Of course, the club here has lots and lots of signs available. So, information about it. And then we've got more Case tractors, guys. Got a 930 Comfort King here with a big canopy. You know, we're so spoiled with our cabs and air conditionings. Look at this. You were sitting pretty if you had a canopy back then. You were enjoying it. You were out of the sun at least. A big 930 diesel. A big brute. Here's another 430. This is a gas in pretty good shape too. And that's been well restored, but looks like it might still be in use the way it's been set up here. Another VAC. How about this? A little lawn and garden tractor, a 120 Case lawnmower. Set up with a wagon. 930s, 630, 300, an SC, 446 lawn and garden tractor, Case 310 crawler with a bucket on the front, loader, big Case 830 narrow front. Oh yeah, narrow fronts were really common back in the day. Let's see, this one's made from 68 to 72. Early mid 70s is when the narrow fronts really started going out. There were some 30 series John Deeres, but most of the by that time those tractors came out, the narrow fronts were gone. A 1220 cross motor. I mean, you can see how short those tractors were, but very convenient the way they had them set up. The motor mounted across, your belt pulley was in line, so it was easy to put power to it, power to the rear axles. Didn't require turning it to power 90 degrees. So that's it. And front wheel drive cars with horizontal motors, they got the same thing today. So 100 years later, we're still using the same design that this tractor has in vehicles.